What if I told you a rock star who died in 1959 once rode home with me in my Jeep? No voice, no shadow, just a presence. Welcome to The Real with Joe Clark. Around here, history isn't just dates and names, it's stories. Stories whispered, forgotten, or buried for a reason. And today, we're bringing them back, just as they happened. So sit back, listen close, and let's step into the past. February 3rd, 1959. They call it the day the music died. A small plane went down in Iowa, carrying three rising stars, Buddy Holly, J.P. Richardson, and a 17-year-old kid whose career had just begun, Ritchie Valens. But what if, for some, the music did not die at all? Hello friends, Joe Clark here, and welcome to part 1 in our series on this subject. In the mid-1990s, a woman named Chantel, an ordinary mother from Alabama, found herself pulled into something that she couldn't explain. It started with a simple question from her son about an old song. That question led her to Ritchie Valens, and from that moment on, she couldn't seem to let him go. Or maybe he wouldn't let her go. At first, Chantel brushed it off, but then came the dreams. Not ordinary dreams, but vivid emotional encounters. Ritchie appeared to her as a young man, sometimes smiling, sometimes speaking, sometimes just present. And then came the coincidences. People connected to his life began appearing in hers. Opportunities opened that she hadn't sought out, until eventually she found herself welcomed into Ritchie's own family circle. During a visit to California, Chantel entered a bedroom once used by Ritchie himself. The room had been preserved, his bed still there, and his presence still felt. She sat down with the others, and then, without warning, an object lifted, shot across the room, and slammed into the opposite wall. No one touched it. No one could explain it. The room fell silent. Most left the room quickly, but Chantel didn't panic. She believed that Ritchie had just made his presence known. Hi friends, Joe Clark here. I hope you're enjoying the podcast today. We'll get you right back to it in just a moment. I just wanted to interrupt you and invite you to visit my website, joeclarkonline.com, where you can pick up copies of my latest books and a whole lot more. Again, that website is joeclarkonline.com. Now back to the story. Later she learned she wasn't the only one. Ritchie's aunt had reportedly seen him in the home, standing in a hallway near that same room. Others had felt him too, though not many spoke openly about it. And Chantel? She continued to experience him in quieter ways, moments that couldn't be proven but couldn't be ignored. Chantel described walking into stores and hearing Ritchie's music begin playing at the exact moment. No lead-in, no warning, just there. Her response became simple. She'd smile and say, "Hi, Ritchie." At his gravesite in California, the experiences deepened. She found herself overwhelmed with emotion, crying uncontrollably, despite not being someone who cried easily. On another visit, while speaking about him, a flock of birds suddenly filled the sky above her, gone as quickly as they came. Moments like that leave an impression. Before we close out part 1, I want to add something. because up to this point we've been talking about Chantel's experiences. But in some ways, mine aren't all that different. Like her, my connection to Ritchie Valens started with the music, just listening, appreciating what he had left behind. And over time, that led to something that I did not expect. At one point, I came into contact with Ritchie's brother, Bob Morales. We became social media friends. Now, I didn't bother him much. I'm sure he had plenty of fans reaching out. But the few times I did ask him something about Ritchie, he was always glad to answer. And that alone made the connection feel a little more real, a little closer. Now there's another layer to this. Psychic medium Karen Lundegard once suggested that Ritchie's spirit lingered, not just around his family, but around people who genuinely connected with him. Not just fans, but people who felt something when they heard his music. She believed he was drawn to that energy, that connection, and sometimes it created moments of presence. I don't talk about this much, but I'll be honest with you, I felt something myself. There was a night I was driving home from town alone, listening to Ritchie's music. And out of nowhere, I got the distinct feeling that I was not alone. No voice, no movement, just a feeling, like someone was sitting in the passenger seat beside me. Not threatening, not frightening, just there. And I'll say this too, it's not just Ritchie. I've had similar experiences in dreams with the late Elvis Presley, but not as the legend or the performer. In those dreams, he's just a man, trying to get away, trying to exist without the weight of fame. I remember one dream in particular. Elvis came in the funeral home where I was working, and he just spent the day hanging out with us. Again, not the star, not the legend, not the performer, just Elvis the man. And there's something about that feels real. Now, what do you do with that? Is it memory, emotion, the mind filling in the gaps, or something else? I'm not here to tell you what to believe, but I will tell you this. Experiences like these, they stay with you. Ritchie Valens was just 17 years old, a life cut short before it ever really began. Maybe that's why stories like this exist. Maybe it's unfinished business, or maybe it's just the way we hold on to those we're not ready to let go of. Either way, every time La Bamba plays, it feels like he's still here. Join us again next time as we dive farther into the story of the late Ritchie Valens. Until then, this has been The Real with Joe Clark. You've been listening to The Real with Joe Clark, where the stories are real and the past is never as far away as it seems. Until next time, keep listening, keep remembering, because history always leaves something behind.